喺加拿大嘅3年，加拿大嘅人民啊，热嘅庆祝，同时多伦多啊客家研讨表育大学以下2022年嘅盛会，本人王医生可以向城市呢边城市所唔资金係出世啊，印度1960年做呢邊境嘅戰爭中啊，印度政府將3000發票還咗10種人，其中都好多人喺印度出世嘅，有佢嘅10種人嘅成分啊，直到學生嘅學業停頓嘅，是放喺話有啲乜嘢，因為生存流行再也冇咁啊繼續讀書嘅，需要家庭成員啊，各散西頓，生離死別，前路茫茫，是很難以體會嘅事情。特別需要啊，每日另外冇得什麼用碳嘅上邊紅畫一個樣嘅。嘅畫嘅樣係要是個床墊，個床就要個皮嘅要個瘦一點，因為它係用生產嚟寫嘅人嘅，其實佢以此對自由嘅渴望啊，但對老婆子同切心情啊表露無遺哦，既無遺。但係印度軍人啊，身負國家嘅重任，衝鋒陷陣，中國軍人做到，中國政府將當佢哋將把佢哋釋放俾佢哋本國。但係我哋需要啊，從2年到6年嘅時間啊，每個家庭被單年嘅乜嘢錯崗嘅時間要分配，嚟包括印度政府啊，下命令。關聯10種人以後，將返開好多家庭嘅成員啊，重新乜嘢關啊政府規定嘅交通度嘅，這種對自由嘅渴望啊，係萬經過嘅事情啊，佢嘅痛苦冇辦法體會到嘅。我爸爸王大1963年5月10號，嗰10種人嘅乜優秀照片以後。依然的某一條嘅一片，就我是實體用裝乜嘢啊？10種人我都挺釋放啊！當我用兄弟看到這個實體嘅時候，我唔敢相信實體人做，因為這個손用嘅人做都畫出嚟，都想要破壞要松樹嚟到要用出嘅人用過嚟係咪哦？草用油嘅人風上去嘅。任何嘅盤嘅乜嘢啊，更快啊，大家這邊大按樣嘅天氣係咪哦？意思啊，對西藏唔恭敬啊，唔係文明古國嘅風土咯。太平洋戰爭啊，美國加拿大將日本嘅華僑啊，佢哋嘅僑民啊，做一10種人，隔咗多年以後，美國嘅總統啊。Bill Clinton 啊，向日本嘅僑民討價嘅賠償，但係過好多年以後，加拿大也副嘅標準哦，也向加拿大當年作日本人作事討價嘅賠償，直到世界嘅乜嘢輿論啊，十分讚許呢兩個做事情，而印度文明嘅古國。去年嘅經濟起飛，和世界舞台上做了十分重要嘅角色咯。喺適當時間，我想印度嘅華僑到1960年10種人作嘅到海拔航空中，全部死嘅人，到寒山嘅人群啊，特別嘅家庭做人頭精神嘅討價，希望大家支持我哋嘅倡議。而多印度發表10種人，那有些非洲的非人哦，正向印度政府申請 vì xích chúng yang 4天 lan dù lý ý cái cùng mũ cái kỹ năng thì này mấy ôi chạy về lui là hậu trọng但係而家嘅印度法條那就需要下一種清理為兩個事情努力，並做大家很好。
While they're switching mics, I asked for indulgence a little bit. We'll probably run about 5 or 6 minutes late for this session, so if that's okay, we'll continue.
So I'm going to actually translate for my father-in-law in English. Before we actually start, I just want to actually acknowledge the translation, which is actually done by Mingdong Park. He's actually sitting right there in the back. He's actually one of the internees as well, excellent internees at the Deoli Camp, and we really appreciate his work. And he actually wrote a book called A Lost Tribe. So it's actually a good read in terms of the Deoli Camp as well as some of the details about the Hakka people as well in India. So I'm going to begin just acknowledging the fact that today is the Canada occasion of today is actually the Canada National Day, July 1st. While Canadian citizens are joyously celebrating, it happens to be coinciding with the Hakka conference of the 2012 at York University. I render my sincere thank you to everyone here in the audience, and we really appreciate you attending here. My name is Ying Sheng Wong, my father-in-law, a Hakka Chinese born and brought up in India. Canada is now my adopted country for my wife, my children, and grandchildren as well. In 1962, when India-China border war happened, Indian government arrested and interned several thousand Chinese. Among them, some of them are born in India themselves, and they're actually Indian citizens as well, like me and other children. I lived my life in constant anxiety in the concentration camp, which ruined my education completely. After the release, I could not continue my educations as we have to worry about our daily life. Many internees' families were separated in a life and death struggle with only dismay in sight, not knowing when freedom from such hopelessness would come. Such sense of loss and despair can be only understood by those who actually experience the situations at that time. Back in the concentration camp, there was an internee friend who used a leftover charcoal picked from the stove pit from across the barracks when they were actually cooking. The marking was sometimes big and sometimes dark, sometimes small, and sometimes light. This is because it was left over from the charcoal. And when I asked what's the marking meant, he said each marking on the wall denote the number of days he lost his freedom and the liberty he lost of being with his wife and children. The marking extended for a long time, but he never missed a day, a single day, doing such a marking as well. It displayed his unwavering longing for freedom and urge to go home to meet his wife and children. This is actually one of the internees that was taken to the camp by himself without a wife and a children. When Indian soldiers tasked with the national duty and ordered to attack and got captured in the battlefields in the 1962 war, Chinese government released them within a short period of time. Yet, we innocent internees, some individuals and some families were imprisoned for various period of time for over 5 years. When order came for closing down the camp, many internees were taken to other designated jail for further imprisonment. For such internees, the pain from such deafening loss of hope for freedom could not be comprehended only when actually experiencing what we had gone through. My father, Wong Kai, died in May 1963 following a brief illness at the badly equipped hospital, which was outside the concentration camp. The body was kept in a horrible condition without facility. The following day, when we, my brother and I, went there, we could not believe that what we saw, his both eyes were taken away. And there were several big cuts marked on his chest, arms, and stomach. The surgical opening was carelessly stitched back with crude strands. There were no ice blocks placed underneath the body to keep them from rotting, given such a high temperature, especially in Rajasthan. Such horrid treatment to the dead is not the tradition of a country with a long history and civilizations. During the Pacific War, the American and the Canadian governments arrested and interned Japanese descendants in the concentration camp many years after the event. President Bill Clinton apologized and compensated the Japanese Americans. A few years later, the Canadian government had done the same for the Japanese. They have won, both countries have won praise and appreciation as well as in terms of the world of acknowledging such an event. India is a country with a long civilization, with a rapid economic progress, playing an important role on the world stage today. It is time now to tender an apology on humanitarian ground to the families whose members died in the concentration camp of 1962, and to those victims who lost lives and properties during the anti-Chinese riots from 1962 and thereafter. The Association of India Deoli Camp Internees, AIDCI, has applied to the Indian government for permission to erect a memorial at the gravesite of all those who died at the concentration camp, but has so far got no reply or acknowledgement. I hope everyone who cares for justice and human rights will support us in our struggle to get justice for the above two mentioned demands. I thank you very much for all the audience here for listening to what we have to say. Thank you.